said, son, I could be your daddy, but the dog jumped the thing. Are we doing a podcast? Hi, Dad. How you doing? Hello, and welcome. Thank you for joining us for this.
Untitled Doctor Who Heroes and Villains.
Oh, what episode is this?
Oh, 14, I believe. Oh, no. It's got to be an odd number. 15, I believe.
15. Welcome to...
Yep.
Drunk Doctor Who Heroes and Villains, episode 15, where we discuss the
second Doctor. Yeah. All right. Today is May 3rd, 2021.
Yes.
And
day before the May the 4th. Be with you. Star Wars Day.
Forget that junk. Doctor Who's better.
Whoa. Doctor Who doesn't have a day, does he? What's the Doctor Who day?
Yeah. November? Yeah, the day it started. Like November 25th. The same day that JFK's assassination.
That's the official Doctor Who day?
Well, yeah, I think
it's
November 25th, I believe. Let's see.
Does Britain have a national Doctor Who day?
23rd, November 23rd.
Is that an officially sanctioned holiday? You know, November 5th?
Cinco de Mayo. Oh no, what about November 5th? Oh,
Guy Fawkes Day.
Yeah, Guy Fawkes Day. Remember November 5th of November.
Gunpowder trees from Plot.
Yeah, I didn't like that movie.
It's happening. It's happening.
Alright. Anyway.
Politics.
Alright, so Second Doctor was in 119 episodes.
That's so many.
In the 4th, 5th, and 6th seasons.
And 3 seasons.
Yeah, back when they were, 40 episodes a season. That's why he's got 119 episodes.
So many episodes. What are we drinking today, Hatter?
I'm drinking some of your Twisted Tea.
Twisted Tea.
With a little bit of Goldschlager in it, once I put it in there. Goldschlager. Yeah, I just got this on a whim today. And,
it's the bougiest of alcohol. You ever watch Superbad?
Yeah.
Quest to get Goldschlager for Emma Stone.
Back when she was like incredibly young. Let's see. This one
like Emma Stone.
McLovin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Emma Stone's a good actress. I like her.
I think she and Ryan Gosling have a great chemistry. Crazy Stupid Love, La La Land.
Oh, I never saw La La Land.
Ooh, especially her and Andrew Garfield in Spider-Man 2. They actually dated. That's why they have really good chemistry on screen. Because they're dating in real life during the movie.
Wasn't that Kirsten Dunst in Spider-Man 2?
That's Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I'm talking about Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, the second reboot, before they went with Tom Holland, the third Spider-Man.
Never seen it.
They're not very good. Especially the second one. It's the Spider-Man, and then the first reboot was The Amazing Spider-Man. And it got canceled after the second one because it's terrible. And they fired Andrew Garfield because he had food poisoning when he got off the airplane. And then the director got super upset that he wasn't there for the promotional thing, so he fired him. And then...
Well, at least the guy they have now looks like he could be in high school.
Right.
Unlike the first two.
He's actually my age.
He looks young.
But he looks super young,
yeah. Okay. I mean, that's the problem, is you want people who... They look young, but you want people who are old enough to have learned their craft,
Right. Opposed to like Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, who are in their like late 30s.
Yeah.
Who still looked young.
Yeah. But they didn't look high school young, no.
Not like 20s young yet. Who looked high school young yet.
Yeah. Alright, so the second Doctor.
Second Doctor, Troughton.
Dr. Troughton. Alright, Patrick Troughton.
Patrick Troughton.
Alright, the actor was also in The Omen.
The Omen? That's a scary movie.
Yeah, and he's a priest.
I don't think I've seen The Omen. I don't watch many scary movies because I'm a big baby.
It's a good scary movie.
I don't necessarily enjoy it.
Okay, and he was in a bunch of other stuff, but we were talking yesterday that he's the Doctor that comes back the most frequently.
Yeah, the most reoccurrences.
Yeah, because he's in the 5 Doctors. He's in the 2 Doctors.
Because he's one of the early Doctors who's a little bit younger. He was younger than Pertwee and Hartnell, right?
Yeah.
So I guess he.
But not by a whole lot for Pertwee.
Yeah. He's also popular.
Yeah. And then
So he keeps coming back, and he's older and older, but they pretend that he's not aging, even though he's coming back.
You have to do that.
That person.
But yeah, the 3rd Doctor.
A lot of hair dye, I imagine, is involved in that.
Well, the 1st Doctor has the most reappearances, but he's played by different actors. Right. And the 3rd Doctor also has 2 reappearances if you count Dimensions in Time, which was the 30th anniversary quasi-official deal. It was basically done as a charity deal.
That's nice.
Yeah, and all of the doctors who were still alive at the time were in it.
Did you know stripping is only legal in Canada if it's for charity? Otherwise, all stripping is illegal.
Okay. So,
fun fact about Canada.
You're living in the wrong country.
Yeah, don't go to Canada unless you're feeling charitable.
Oh, man. So, are all 3 of the strippers in Canada named Charity?
I guess so.
Okay. Alright, so the 2nd Doctor, he's there for 3 seasons, back when the seasons were really long. He doesn't have quite as many as the 1st Doctor, because 1st Doctor went into season 4, whereas he started on the 3rd serial of season 4. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Alright, now we've talked about Troughton before, but what do you like about him that maybe you didn't like about the 1st Doctor?
I think Troughton is still my favorite Doctor after seeing all 3.
The first 3, yeah.
Yeah, the first 3. The 3 that matter, right?
No, Tom Baker, he's my favorite. He's the 4th Doctor, but Troughton's my 2nd favorite.
I really like Troughton because he's like so much. There's a large disconnect between Troughton and Hartnell, whereas Hartnell was a much older, sterner character, kind of gruff, you know. Mm-hmm. He's this actor who played this militaristic person. Yeah, an older, stern figure, and he really kind of had to struggle to steer into the, you know, kindly grandfather figure that they really imagined his character being. Whereas Troughton shows up, and he is just a natural, fun-loving, you know, goofy character.
Effervescent.
Yeah. Clownish.
Yeah, he's got a lot of verve. No, the reason that the show continued, and the reason that we still have Doctor Who today, is because Patrick Troughton, the 2nd Doctor, made it work. If he had not been that good, it probably would have been canceled right after the, you know, the stunt of replacing the main actor. Now they've done that before in TV shows, where they replaced one of the main actors.
James Bond.
Well, that's in the movies. But no, TV shows like Darren in Bewitched, or Lionel in The Jeffersons. And they just expected you to go along with it. Partly because they were sitcoms, and, you know, partly because, you know, you're just supposed to laugh at it anyway. It's a comedy. But with this one, they, you know, of course had to explain it all the way. Because, you know, regeneration and Time Lords and all that.
Yeah, sci-fi. It's easier to explain things with science than, you know, live action.
Science fiction or fantasy, yeah. Okay, let's see. So, tonight we're doing the heroes and villains because we watched Fury from the Deep, which we'll be talking about next week a little bit whenever we do finish off the season.
Not next week.
Oh, not next week. No. Sorry, later on.
4 weeks from today.
No, later on. Anyway. What's the one? Yeah, because the next one is
What are we looking
the Green Death.
The Green Death.
The Green Death. But Fear from the Deep was actually the last of our cleanups for now. So we don't have any more animations to watch currently.
We're all caught up finally.
And there's no date on any of the others that are coming out.
Yeah, no announcements.
None. We should have at least one more animation this year, but there are literally none announced. That one was the most recent. Because we're working on about 5 of them right now, I believe.
You think they're
different,
just like multiples chained out, boom, 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 boom?
Well, yeah, because you've got to have one guy working on sound, and you've probably got one guy working on this section of animation, like maybe rendering all the extra characters you need. Because, the Doctor and Jamie are in all of them.
Though they keep
pretty
changing,
much.
kind of.
A little. Well, I'm sure they're refining it as they go along. But a lot of the other characters aren't in it. And then you've got one guy probably working on sets. And when we watched this, there was a pipeline designer who designed all the pipes for the Fury from the Deep.
It's not. It doesn't really strike me as high budget animation. It's very rudimentary, like line drawing animation.
Yeah, but I'm just happy it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems very kind of second thought. The BBC as a whole, they're just they're throwing just a little bit of money at it, and you have like this studio for Doctor Who that's really passionate about the reconstructions and releasing the box sets or the series as a whole, and then here's BBC and they're like, oh, we'll throw a little money your way. We'll throw a little money.
Yeah. Well, they also like
throwing together these animations.
Well, they also like receiving the profits.
It feels very afterthought-ish. Yeah.
No, well, if they thought ahead, they wouldn't have junked the episodes in the first place.
That's true. Yeah. You're going through a budgetary crisis at that point.
Well,
strikes.
They were still recovering from World War II.
And film strikes.
Everything in the United Kingdom was really tight. I mean, like I said, I don't think they got off of food rations till the 70s. It was just nuts. But, you got to do what you got to do. All right.
They're a lot closer to the front lines.
Oh, yeah, red lines and stuff. Let's see. Okay, so what is your favorite serial of the Doctors? I think it was the War Games.
We voted on the War Games.
The War Games.
Which was a bit of an upset, because your favorite was not the War Games, yours was...
Oh, Enemy of the World.
Yeah.
Love Enemy of the World.
I think your favorite of Troughton's was Enemy of the World. My favorite was the War Games.
Right, but War Games was
you could
up there.
Go either way.
Yeah.
It was like a coin toss to determine.
No, I still like Enemy of the World better, but you like War Games well enough that I think you were slightly more passionate on it than I was.
I really like the War Games.
Well, the good news is we're talking about the new Doctor, and soon he's only got like 5 more series to have animated. Let's see.
Yeah, true. Which seems like a lot. The series are like 4 to 6 episodes.
Yeah, the only thing, the Highlanders.
That one we need because that's like Jamie's introductory series.
Correct. It's going to be one of the harder ones to animate because there's a lot of characters, and it's an historical. Let's see. I believe somewhere they're working on Evil the Daleks. Abominable Snowman.
I like the Snowman.
And they're partly doing that because
that's a recurring villain that comes back later on.
Okay, well, it comes back one other time, and of those, 5 of the 6 episodes exist. So the Web of Fear,
it's still an appointment villain.
right. The Web of Fear, where you have simply one missing episode, they have announced they're animating that one missing episode.
I wish the Hive Man from the Web of Fear would come back.
Talking about the Great Intelligence?
Yeah.
He does.
He does? Oh.
He does. He comes back in the modern stuff. Played by Richard E. Grant, who oddly enough...
voice actor. Yeah.
Oddly enough... Well, he's also a character in it.
Oh.
An actual physical character.
Uh-huh.
And then he does the voice. No, somebody else does the voice.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Richard E. Grant is in it, and remember, he was going to be the Ninth Doctor when they were doing it animated, Scream of the Shockla, and then he didn't get to be the Ninth Doctor.
That was like the one...
Right, but then he shows up as the villain. Because they decided instead of doing it animated, they were going to do it live action.
Right.
But they were already so far into the production, let's see.
But canonically, he still counts as the Ninth Doctor?
No,
he doesn't.
That is the only thing...
That's non-canon?
Yeah, it's the only thing the BBC has ever said is not canon. Is that Scream of the Shockla. I believe they're working also on...
So as we, the viewers, do we just sum that up as like an alternate dimension?
You can. It's like the Peter Cushing movies. There's a way to work those into canon with the Timeless Child stuff. But once again, I'm waiting to see if that's actually going to be canon or not. Speaking of which, I just finally picked up Series 12. I managed to wait a year.
Your views so far?
I've only watched the first episode, Spyfall Part 1.
You liked it?
I actually reasonably enjoyed that episode, yes. There was one line that made me cringe.
Another line?
Another line, yeah. The line that made me cringe was, no, the Doctor's a man. Oh, I got an upgrade. Come on.
I mean, it's hard to argue.
But no, the line that was super awesome was, after they got kidnapped, and the other guy's like, worst Uber ever.
You heard it here first. Hatter approved. 12th season.
Only the episode I watched.
Yeah.
Because it was a nice big fun spoof of spy stuff.
Yeah. We like spy stuff.
Okay. Hopefully the second episode, Spyfall Part 2, is as good. And then I'm going to get to Orphan 55, and I know I'm going to hate that one.
Is Spyfall a pun of Skyfall?
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so no news on the Highlanders yet.
Not yet.
Abominable Snowman, Web of Fear. Those make sense because they're already doing the Yetis. The Wheel in Space. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 that I believe they're working on. And then no word on the Space Pirates. So we need 6 serials to be finished. 4 of which I believe they're working on, and 2 which we have no news.
So one would imagine they're just going to chain them out like boom, 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 boom. We finished.
Well, yeah. The logical thing is they've been on the path of 2 a year. Boom, boom, 2 a year, and.
Are they upping it to 4?
No, I think they're going to continue with 2 a year because they're also coming out with the box sets, the Blu-ray box sets, 2 a year. So I think every year you're going to get 2 of the animations, and we've talked about this before, the 2 Blu-ray box sets, and of course whatever new they make, like Series 13, and the next Christmas episode and whatnot. So
they spend a whole year just releasing one serial for Christmas.
Well, they've done that before, yes.
They're really, stretching out their licensing to just like the bare minimum. It feels like the bare minimum for releasing.
Yes. What they did was they made a deal with I think it was China or some other places, India or whatnot, that they would get money back for the licensing and showing of Doctor Who in that country. But they had to produce at least 1 episode a year. It has to stay in production and be released every year. So there was one year, the Christmas episode wasn't on Christmas, it got moved to New Year's, so that would count as the episode for that year. Yeah, they've done some kind of cheesy stuff that's technically, contractually accurate. But it's kind of cheesy.
The same thing happened with the Marvel licensing, to where they had the licensing and they're about to lose it. They're like, quick, we have to make a movie.
Yeah, Fantastic Four, I think they've done that with.
But did you see that the movies that they made? It's like cardboard boxes, props, and like filmed in some person's basement, and then
the first. Fantastic Four movie was like that.
Yeah, that's one.
It was really bad. But yeah. But anyway, and then they'll hopefully go to Hartnell. They should, and start working on his stuff.
Because he only has a few.
Until you get to season 3. Season 3. Season 1, it's just Marco Polo.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2, it's just 2 episodes of The Crusade.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So 7 episodes and 2 episodes, and you finished out the first 2 seasons. Season 3, you're missing a lot, including 9 episodes of the Daleks' Master Plan. Mm-hmm. But most of that season is missing.
We're almost done with Pertwee.
Yeah, we have 1 more season and 1 more serial to go. And then we'll move on to Tom Baker, the 4th Doctor.
Yeah, your favorite.
Yep. And with the main group, this next Sunday, we will actually finish Fury from the Deep. And then we're moving, and that's our last of our cleanup. And then we're moving to Davison, the 5th Doctor. So we are just 1 Doctor behind the main group.
Catching up.
We are catching up, and someday we will pass them, yeah. Because there's where Liz and I are right there, Shada. You and I are right there at the Greek Death. And there's the main group at Castrovalva. Liz and I need to watch and catch up to the main group. She and I have been doing cleanup with this stuff too. Mm-hmm. And since she watched Fury from the Deep with us, the only thing she and I have to watch is Dalek Invasion of Earth 2150 AD, the second Peter Cushing movie.
That's coming up. You think we'll live to see it? 2150 AD? Medical science is going to keep us alive to where we're...
Maybe you. I think I'm past that point.
You're going to put your brain in a jar. You're going to be a cyborg. You'll see the Daleks invade.
But it will be interesting. I would have to be almost 100, but it's possible that we could both live to see Doctor Who become public domain. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with the character once it goes out there like that.
Not much, probably. Like, you think of the public domains they have now.
No, Sherlock Holmes.
Went
crazy, yeah.
I mean, not really. There's one TV show, and then there's the movies with Robert Downey Jr., and that's about it.
No. Holmes and Watson.
2 TV shows?
No. Okay, first of all.
That one was terrible.
The movie. Yeah, that's terrible.
Will Ferrell and...
yeah, but no,
no one watched that.
No. We've got it on the bad movie rack for bad movie night, but we haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
No, but you have... there's been a bunch of movies, including by Asylum and stuff.
Well, there's
and then you got the TV shows. You have Sherlock, Russell, not Moffat did.
There's one with Moffat, and there's one with Benedict Cumberbatch.
That's the one that Moffat did.
Oh, and then there are the Robert Downey Jr. movies, 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, and then you have the one where they replace Watson with a female, and it's the young lady from the Charlie's Angels movies.
I feel like still it's a relatively low impact overall because there's a spike when it first hits public domain. The same thing happened with Sleeping Beauty. Like Sleeping Beauty hit after Disney's Sleeping. I mean, Sleeping Beauty was already in public domain, and then Disney took it, and then the Disney Sleeping Beauty hit public domain. There's this big spike, and there are 3 movies came out, and then nothing.
Well, I mean, the same thing for Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
When it went public domain, it became really big,
It goes a few movies, and then it dies out.
Well,
no one really cares.
Well, we're also looking only at movies in English. There's a bunch of other movies in other countries and other languages.
How are we going to keep up with Bob?
Well, freeze those, but no. As more and more of this stuff hits public domain, it'll be interesting to see what other people do with the characters. And the Doctor will be an interesting one because the Doctor can take any face.
It's pretty much just the same old story they're telling with these names hitting, public. They're just telling us, it's basically...
We haven't had a lot of them yet.
Nothing new is coming out of it.
No,
Winnie the
Pooh's gonna hit. Wizard of Oz stuff. Those books and movies are gonna hit.
I mean, I'm already out of that.
Well, no. But there's also... I mean, eventually you're going to have things like the characters from the Crichton books.
Crichton?
Yeah.
What books did he write?
I can't think of the names of any of these. Oh, Sum of All Fears. His is always like spy, political, thriller stuff.
I feel like we're already experiencing the same effect public domain has because we have the companies seeing that something is going to hit public domain and then cashing out when they can and doing like a re-release. So you have like it's basically the same thing as reboots. Like someone will reboot Dune, they reboot this, they'll release a new movie of that.
Well, true, but
it's
Dune's
the
not
same
public
thing.
domain yet,
It's the same thing that happens when it does hit public domain. It's just you get another 1 or 2 movies out of it, and then people move on. It's like it's basically like a franchise reboot. They're not reimagining it.
True.
It's just another movie, and people and then
Right.
it falls
But
out
in
of
a few years, you're going to have Lord of the Rings in a couple decades.
Yeah, they might release a couple of movies.
Yeah.
Nothing new, and then
nothing super big. Yeah.
It's basically like another reboot.
I wouldn't mind somebody with a fresh take on it coming in and going, okay, we're going to do like a Sherlock Holmes as long as it's good. Moffat's first 2 seasons of Sherlock were really good. And then he got too clever for his own good, and the 3rd series was just horrible.
I feel like I'm very much in the minority when it comes to the argument on public domain. Is so many people are like, capitalism, public domain has really been warped into something that it was never meant to be, where it's like a lifetime plus 99 years, and it lasts too long, and that should be released to the public sooner so that people can put on plays and reimagine it. And I don't agree with any of that. It's like this person made this unique world and this unique character, and why do you have to take that and make re-release it and make your own thing and
could you picture
just make something new. Make something new.
No, I
make your own world and your own character.
Could you picture the descendants of Shakespeare trying to say, no, you can't put on a play of Shakespeare's unless we get our money? At some point, it does need to go to the rest of humanity.
Just make something new.
In 100 years...
Write your own screenplay.
100 years is more than long enough. Now, in different countries...
I agree.
In different countries, they do different things. Like the U.S., it's currently like 95 years or something. But they kept making it longer and longer and longer. But the last couple times they had an opportunity to make it longer, they didn't. And so for 20 years, nothing went into public domain. Now things are finally every year starting to go back into public domain.
I still don't care. It's like I don't care if they reboot it, or someone does their own spin on it, or someone makes something original like Mortal Engines and they make that series into a movie. It's like I don't care if you take this book and make it into a movie, you reboot this thing, or if you just make something totally original. Out of those 3, I would prefer just something original. It's like I don't care if something is in public domain. I don't care if they reboot it. You just if you want to make a name for, it just feels like an argument for a cash out. It's like, oh, this should be public domain because the rest of humanity should be able to take this original world and original character, and then. But really, what it feels like they're saying is, oh, I want to make money off of this dead person's idea.
It's the same thing for patents, okay? If I come up with
patents are totally different, though. It's a totally different world.
No, eventually those things go into public domain. But somebody comes up with a great idea. Eventually, the whole world gets the benefit from it.
Yeah, because patents are different because there's real world applications and actual benefits opposed to something that's entertainment and leisurely.
But once again,
benefit.
That is something that makes your life better. The same way the patents make your life
better. It's totally disconnected.
I disagree.
Because something original is just as entertaining as something that's reimagined and someone else.
It can be, but not everybody can do that. Hey, welcome to this episode of Patents and... Oh my god. Okay, do you have any questions or anything else to add about the second Doctor?
Troughton. He has a lot of firsts. He's the first person for Jelly Babies. He's the first.
Yes.
He's the first sonic screwdriver.
Yes.
He's
the first regeneration.
First regeneration. The first of a few other things, I think.
Yep. And he, like I said, if he was not as good as he was, the show would have not worked with the change. It's a shame that so many of his episodes were deleted. Mm-hmm. But the animations are making it better. And I do like the fact that they're coming out. And we're currently looking at a schedule at about 2 animations a year and about 2 box sets a year of having all the animations done and all the seasons on Blu-ray box sets around 2029. So about 8 more years.
8 more years.
Yeah.
You're more excited about that because you're the collector.
I am.
I just reap the benefits of your collecting.
I mean, I've seen all the reconstructions, but to be able to actually watch the episode, maybe not in its original form, although things may be found like Web of Fear and Enemy of the World or her, but at least seeing it in some form with the original audio.
I'm gonna make a broad general prediction, right? No more episodes are gonna be found. I think every episode that they're gonna find has been found. I know that's not what the community wants to hear. I know people are holding out hope. Mm-hmm. I don't think anything else is going to be found.
There are people who have private collections with missing episodes in them.
Oh, like confirmed? And they're they're not releasing those?
Yes.
Well, that's kind of selfish.
Yes, it is. There are some people who want the privilege of seeing and having and owning that. That just sucks.
All right. Speaking of, this ties into our whole patent discussion. Mm-hmm. It's applicable because the person who owns the patent on insulin and why insulin medication has gone.
There was some hanyak with that, yeah.
Right. What he did, he's made a ton of money off of like increasing the price of insulin like 280% and just reaping money out of these diabetics. He took this money and he's doing really douchey things like I don't even remember the name of the band, but there's this rapper who released this album for like charity or something, and it hadn't been released literally the whole album he recorded was just one vinyl. And
that was the only way bought that. Yeah,
that's the guy who owns the patent to insulin, and he's hiked the prices 280%. He bought the vinyl, and he didn't release it to the public, and no one else can hear the album. And he did something stupid. He broke it or something. I don't remember, but everyone was super pissed off that
I know the story, wasn't it? What was the name of the group?
But he's a total douchebag. This dude.
I've actually heard of this group, and I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know why I can't remember the name of the group either. But it's this.
Was it the one Tupac was in or whatever?
No. NWA.
NWA, that's it.
I can't say what that stands for.
My wife was yelling at me over there. Thank you, sunshine.
It's NWA.
NWA, yeah.
We can't say what that stands for.
But no, some people are just hanyaks that way, If I had the episode, I would take it to the BBC. Mm-hmm. I would say, look, I want the original back. This is my personal collection. I wouldn't even do that. I just want people to see it. But here, take the episode, scan it into the computers, give me the original print back so I can hold it, and just give me a thanks in the credits. That's all I would want, is my name to show up in the credits of Doctor Who,
It's fair to say, give me a few bucks for my time. But just holding on to it just for the idea, you get off to the idea of, I'm the only one that can see this and no one else can. Nah.
It's a real jerk thing to do, yeah.
Alright, so other than those episodes that have been found, my prediction still stands. Like, no other episodes are going to be found.
Well, that's what we thought a few years ago, and then they found Enemy of the World and Web of Fear. I mean...
Those were found just a few years ago?
Yeah. And then
you're really trashing my prediction. I still don't think anything.
In fact, the guy who found Web of Fear found all 6 episodes. And he's like, okay, great.
In the basement, attic, garage.
Well, no. He was going around to different TV stations around the world where episodes of Doctor Who had been sent to.
What's the one that was like really incredible that they found in Egypt somewhere?
Well, there have been several of them like that, but in Africa they used to put them on the back of bikes and people ride them around, couriers. And the reason they do that is because a lot of Africa was colonized by the British, and they owned chunks of it, including Egypt, Israel, a good amount of areas. And
Britain owned Israel?
Yeah. At the time, it was not called Israel. It was referred to, generally speaking, as Palestine. But they after World War II and the Holocaust, the United Kingdom, who did not take more Jews in, and who could have, and we did the same thing. The United States said, you know what? While we're doing this, and the UN was involved in this as well, while we're dismantling our empire because it's too expensive to keep, this area is for Israel. This is for the Jews. India was owned by the British. Just huge, giant. Australia, Canada, Hong Kong.
Hong Kong was one of the most recent ones. That's like
that was given back in '97. Huge, giant chunks of the world were owned by the British, and they dismantled the empire. It was just too expensive to keep up anymore. It's like somebody who downsizes to a smaller house because they can't afford to keep the larger house, with all the heating and air conditioning and everything.
It's because of taxes.
All right. In fact, it's that all the Super Bowls were televised, and recorded. The very first Super Bowl.
It's illegal to record the Super Bowl without express permission from.
Well, no, to rebroadcast it.
To rebroadcast.
You can watch it on your own use, if you still have a VCR, or for most people they probably have a DVR.
TiVo, yeah.
But no, there's somebody out there who actually has a copy of the first Super Bowl with all the commercials and everything that he recorded on VCR, because in the '60s they were very rare. But anyway, he's got it, and the NFL doesn't want to pay the money he wants for that copy, but apparently it's the only copy that still exists.
The only one.
Yeah, and they want it. Somehow I don't know, I guess ABC or whomever aired it, didn't keep a copy. But yeah, nobody knew the Super Bowl was going to eventually be as big as it is, because the first two weren't even called Super Bowls.
Yeah.
One until Super Bowl III. AFC, NFC Championship.
What Super Bowl are we on? How many years ago was it?
56 or something?
Was that when they were still wearing the leather helmets? Not that long ago.
No, but the Super Bowl era of the NFL is what's commonly referred to as the modern era. A lot of records for the NFL, a lot of them you go, okay, we have this record for the entirety of the NFL. What was it, 1920. But a lot of the records, they only go, in the modern era, this is the best of this, or this is the highest percentage, or what have you.
Yeah.
And they do that because in the early days of the NFL,
it's not really fair to make those comparisons.
Yeah, things were a little wackier.
Same thing's happening with like the Olympics. It's like, well, just our understanding of the human body and like the shoes, the science that goes behind human athletes.
Right, usually that helps the modern era.
And how they use, exactly.
Yeah.
And on the one side, it's like, we're smashing the old records because we're so much better at, understanding.
Well, because they make swimsuits like the U.S. Olympic team.
Yeah, but with sports, it's very much the opposite, because they're so much worse at understanding, how to defend against a certain play.
Well, I mean, in the beginning,
like basketball, you'll have basketball records that from way, way back then that will just never be beat, because the newer basketball athletes just have so much a much better understanding of how to defend against a certain play.
But by the same token, in the modern era of basketball, when you have a 3-point line, they didn't have that in the old days. And you have people like Wilt Chamberlain, who scored 100 points in a single game without a 3-point line. That means he made 50 separate baskets. Nobody's going to do that today, even with a 3-point line.
Yeah, because they have so much. The defense has evolved to where they.
Sometimes, yes, but Will Chamberlain was just in a class of his own at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, the closest you're going to get to him in modern day was Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
I forgot what my point was. Oh, I was gonna say I just can't wait for football to be played by robots. Like, yeah, like boxing. Everything's the whole
real steel.
Exactly. All of sports is going to evolve into robots because that's the next step of the human evolution. Is sports are going to become stale to where like no one's going to be breaking new records. We're going to hit the peak of human performance and athleticism, and then they're going to start having robots play. And
that's why nobody's recently ever been the oldest quarterback to win a Super Bowl. That's why nobody recently ever broke the record for the number of Super Bowls held by a single person.
The NFL.
Okay, you get where I'm going with this, right?
The NFL has already adopted a robot football player as their mascot during the commercial breaks.
But as
robots.
No. The records will be broken
by robots.
No, because in the modern era, we understand things better in terms of health. We understand things better in terms of longevity.
That's going to hit a wall at some point.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like the 4-minute mile. They never thought they'd break that.
Right, yeah.
And then they broke it.
And then they're going to hit the wall, actually, though.
It's like...
soon. That wall is very close to...
No, I mean,
really, the only thing we're really lacking on is this biological understanding of, like, the brain and eyes. But things like athleticism and lifting weights and running, and that's hitting a peak. Like, we're not... Us as a species aren't going to get any better at that very soon.
I disagree. As long as we have the capability to understand science better, of personal training, of physical, what's the word for it? Rehabilitation.
I think
all that, people will be able to do things longer, and they will be able to do them better.
I disagree because we've already hit a point to where sports are evolving into where we're only recruiting biological anomalies, these freakishly tall people that play basketball. A team of professional athletes is compromised of, the 0.001% of people that are at a certain height. Comprised. Yeah. Of a certain height, Olympic athletes, they've discovered the biological advantages of, only professional ice skaters are very short people, and then you have Olympic swimmers like Michael Phelps, who practically has webbed feet. They're anomalies of very tall basketball players. They have to start recruiting these people on their teams because that's the only people that have success anymore. Like, you're not back in the 1940s to where you can have just any Joe Schmo as your basketball.
But then every once in a while, you will get somebody like Sproles, who's 5'8" and playing for the Saints.
Yeah, not for very long.
Short guy. No.
The Mets have what's his face, like the big guy who's surprisingly athletic for. Why can't I think of his name? The Mets, the pitcher they have. Yeah. He makes he's a big guy. You wouldn't think that he would be so surprisingly athletic to where he's, throwing the bases underhand and behind his back and then running a base on bat. But then, but that's gonna hit up. The wall is very close.
And that's what they thought 100 years ago.
No.
Yes.
Because they didn't have science.
But I mentioned this earlier to Alyssa. Thomas Edison wanted to close the patent office in the early 1900s because he thought everything that could ever be invented had been invented.
What you are, in my mind, is your Rocky Balboa, where he's fighting the Russian, and the Russians have adopted this technology of we have pushed the human performance to like a scientific and you're Rocky and you're like, it doesn't matter the science behind the Russians' workout because it's all about heart and the cut.
Exactly.
That's not true.
No, it is. They're both true. Right. Okay, welcome to. We're just going to sit around and talk for 2 hours and a little Doctor Who.
Welcome to the football podcast.
Okay. All right. Next, you want to go to Jamie McCrimmon?
That's all about Troughton.
Always.
Thanks for listening about Troughton. About the war games and the enemy within.
Yeah. Now, since we're done with the current animations, we will be doing these, but not quite as often because we're watching more of the regular stuff. Yeah.
Well, whenever we have
except for when we do movies.
Yeah. Movie night.
So I need to show you History of the World Part 1. Right.
Yeah. And I'm very excited for Part 2.
Although
we're in Part 2.
Mel Brooks is still alive, so at 98 or something, he could still do a Part 2.
Yeah.
Alright. Bye-bye. See you in a minute.
Quit catching our houses on fire, Mel Brooks. Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah, I love that one.
When's the last